that intervention to ensure change. Intervention to ensure change. And we said that education is very important, motivating, and then acquisition of skills. We say education is important, especially if you look at the example that I cited in one of these classes before, where children who have malaria plus, and there's a convulsion, they rush to this community healer or traditional healers. They set up fire, smoke, and they raise these children over this smoke and fire and all that. And the convulsion will definitely stop. But what they don't know is that, or they were doing, they were not aware of, was that they were just roasting the what? The lungs of these young children. And 3 days after, they will die. Because when you have finished successfully roasting the lungs of these young people, they will not survive. But they were not aware that is raising the children over this fire, smoke, and all that was the one that is what? Killing the children. So when they report the children to hospital, they die, they think that it's the nurses, the doctors who are killing their children for them. Meanwhile, they do not have the education that when you are holding young children like that, over a smoke, not 2 minutes, over a long period of time, until the convulsion stopped, what you did was that you have roasted everything in their system, their organs. And eventually, 3 days, 4 days, they die at the hospital. Then the community accused the hospital that they are rather killing their children for them. Because when healer, the convulsion stopped. Where is that? Not that the child is sick. And we brought the child to you. Now the child is dead. So we believe that you are the one who is killing our children. So they need education to understand that the convulsion is not something that is being cured, but rather your children are being what? Roasted. And what will happen is that they will die. So education is important. Education alone is not enough. You must also motivate others to acquire the skills to change. There are others who are willing to change, but they don't have the means. We talk about what? Being assertiveness to change. To change, to avoid unprotected sex. You need assertiveness to do that. So motivation also counts, especially when your environment is not supporting. There are communities here, even in Accra here. If you are a young girl, 20 years, thereabout, you don't have a baby, they will look at you. They become like stigmatization. They will stigmatize you. Therefore, young girls as early as 16, 15, they want to have a child in those communities. Here at the capital city of Ghana, Accra. So how assertive you are that in spite of those challenges coming from your environment, you'll be able to have that motivation to say that, well, I want to stay in school so that I can get to whatever I want to be for my career, to enjoy the fruit of my labor. So you need people to get the skills, be motivated in addition to what? The education. Creating an enabling environment, access to resources and supplies in a sustainable manner. What is the water? People want to go to school. Do they have the schools in their communities? Women are willing to attend antenatal clinic. What are the clinic? What are the cheap compounds in the community? They are not there. People want to go to the hospital. They don't have money because there are no jobs. There are no money. So create an enabling environment. Access to resources. Provide money. Provide interventions so that they can enjoy free health care and they'll be able to go to the hospital. People want to assure them that there's a vaccination so that the children will not die. And therefore, they can have 2 children. Because one of the reasons why people have a lot of children is that, oh, probably some will die. Our grandparents, that's why they have 7, 10. Even if 2 or 3 die, they can have some more. So assure them that vaccination and other technology has improved, children will survive so that they can change their behavior. You must also be dealing with significant others. That's why I like the law when the Advertising Association of Ghana said that celebrities will not advertise alcoholic products any longer because children see them as a role model. So you want to be like somebody and the person is advertising alcohol, what will happen? They will go and drink. All people are smoking, they will smoke. So people who are very important in the community, their behaviors matter. You must ensure that your behavior conform to promotion of health of the people, because there are thousands and one in your community that is seen as role model. And therefore, everything you are doing, they are copying, just like the children I say from the beginning of this lecture. Any question before I move on? In fact, when this session ends, we are closing. So when this session ends, we'll end our lecture. So any question before I move on and look at communication aspect of behavior change communication? All that we have looked at is the behavior, how to bring what change in behavior. We want to look at the communication aspect. Yes.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
To try for the last time. Yes, what I was saying is that, you know, some people we have to sympathize with them, because here lies the case where our brain, a reward center brain taking over chemistry, but this can like dopamine difficult for them to adapt to behaviors. So these people, it's moved from the realm of being psychological to psych. So set their behaviors, no matter.
We can hardly hear you, my brother. Your line is very poor.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm saying that it's just a contribution. Hello.
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
It's just a contribution I want to make.
Okay.
Certain people that we need to sympathize with them because they are, because the reward center in their brains has been taken over by chemistry. This chemistry by dopamine, and no matter how you do, they are being fed by these chemicals, these chemicals that make them like the behavior. No matter how you try to do with the psychological behavior change, it won't feel well. So therefore, we need to move it to the realm of psychiatric settings. Let's say, for example, like smoking, where some of them will need nicotine to bring them from to smoke.
Hello, please, I can't hear what you are saying.
Yes, the line is very bad. Your network is bad, my brother. Your network is very bad. I think we can continue. All right. So we want to talk about the communication aspect. What is communication? What is communication, my class? My people, can you hear me?
The communication is an interaction which involves the exchange or sharing of facts, ideas, feelings, information, etc. between two or more people.
Okay.
Hey,
So we are saying
hey. Hey, you are just reading what you just heard on the screen.
oh, he was very successful in reading everything for us from A to Z.
I was surprised. I didn't believe this came from his head.
Hey.
You were successful reading everything from word to word.
That's a genius.
Thank you very much.
So don't mind them.
He has been very successful. In fact,
And they
I
were
congratulate
just
you.
there.
I congratulate you
Yes,
for being
sir.
very
Thank you, sir.
successful.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other?
You just
Any
give him
addition?
5 marks.
No, I'll give you 10 over 10. Any other?
Yeah. He has done it all.
Somebody say he has said it all. So we are
So
saying
it's about sending information and getting the feedback.
okay.
That is what I know.
Yeah.
So if you don't get a feedback, I don't think it's a communication.
Okay, that's fine. That's also good. So as you have all said, that is it. So communication, we as we say, is interaction. And we say that it involves exchange or sharing of facts, and where you expect or information between two or more people through a medium. So that communication or that message you are sending, or the exchange, or the share of the facts, or the ideas, or the feelings that you are trying to exchange between two or more people, it must also go through a medium. You can do that through writing. You can do that through sign language. You can do that through speech. Any of them can serve the purpose of communication. So those who cannot talk, they also communicate, either through sign language or writing. So we are saying that it's an interactive process involving using two or more groups where all participants encode and decode information for mutual understanding. So an interactive process involving two or more groups or people where all participants encode and decode information for mutual understanding. When we say encode and decode, what does that mean?
More or less like lock and then unlock.
Yes. Anybody?
Encode is the format in which the message is being sent for easy understanding by the recipient.
So the
And
decoding
on how decoding is how the receiver is able to make meanings out of it.
Okay. The ability of the receiver to make meaning of the message that you have sent. So you have been able to decode whatever you are saying. Encode is how you have put it. The message that you put there. The person must be able to understand. That becomes the decode. Encode is what exactly you are saying and how you are saying it and how the person will be able to understand what exactly you are saying. And the feedback from the recipient to the source indicates that the message is received and communication complete. If the feedback is not received, then communication is not completed. Unless you receive what? The feedback. It is only then that you can say communication has taken place. And we have types of communication: verbal, and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication, you all know what we talk about. These are just to remind us, involve the use of words, either spoken or written. Why do you think that written is also classified as verbal communication?
Because it's from the person's, whatever the person is going to say verbally is what the person transcribes onto a sheet of paper or in a written form.
So it become a verbal communication?
Verbal communication.
Really? Any other? Any other? Yeah. Since you not talk, let's move on. Not limited to what is said only, but also how it is said. So communication is not only about what you have said, but the way you have said it. Because there are ways that what I'm saying now can make somebody happy. But the way somebody also said the same thing will make the person angry. So it is not only about what you have said, but the way you have said it counts a lot. So the way you have said it counts a lot, not only what you have said, but the way you have said it. It counts a lot. A person's tone of voice communicates a variety of what? Emotions. For example, sadness, fear, joy, disapproval, etc. So the voice that you use to communicate in your health promotion activities will either carry the message properly to the people or otherwise. So sometimes it's also important the kind of the voice you adopt in carrying out your communication or the message across. Non-verbal communication does not involve the use of words, involve movement of the body and facial expressions. We have seen sign language and all those things before. So it is not that involve use of words and all that. By using or movement of body parts or your facial expression for people to understand what exactly you want to communicate. When your face, the way you look, that also gives what? Some information to people, whether you are in happy mood or otherwise. So your facial expression carry out a lot of information also about you. Effective communication is involved health, which is defined as the process of transferring or sharing ideas, information or feelings. They are not only interested in just communication, they are looking at what? Effective communication. Not only communication, but they are looking at effective communication. Because that will bring what? The desirable feedback. The feedback into their life. That will bring change in their behavior. That will bring a better way of doing things into their behavior. Therefore, health professionals or health practitioners are interested in effective communication because that is what will bring about transformation or sharing of ideas or informations or feelings that bring our desirable feedback or change. So to achieve effective communication, the right information must get to the right person at the right time, at the right place, and in appropriate manner. If you don't have the right information and the information does not get to the right person at the right time, at the right place, and in the appropriate manner, that particular change you are seeing or you are trying to see in the life of the individual will not take place, will not happen. One, to talk about, educate people about menopause and the hot flashes that come along with it. It's a good message or good information, but it must get to the right person. Women who are in what? But when you get to adolescent, my friend, that is bad. Because adolescent does not have any, they are not interested in what? Menopause. So if you are giving that message to people who are in menopause, then it gets to them at the right time. And the environment where they are is important. At the right place. In appropriate manner. Sometimes culture of the environment influence how you deliver those messages. So you must consider the cultural factors so that it is delivered in an appropriate manner with respect to their culture. So that they appreciate whatever you are saying. But when the information gets to them at the wrong time, I am adolescent and now you are educating me on menopause and all that. The information is beautiful, but it's gotten to the wrong hand or the wrong person at the wrong time. And that information cannot succeed. You cannot see the change. The information, the change that you want that information to bring in the life of the people, it will not happen. Then we want to look at some of the attitudes of effective communication. Accurate, the valid and without errors of fact, interpretation and judgment. You must have valid content, not full of errors. The fact must be there. And there should not be any judgmental issues concerning that particular information. So accuracy is important. The ability of the target audience to assess the content of the message is paramount. So adolescents, if they don't understand the content of whatever you are saying, how can you see the change that you want to see? The effective communication will not happen or will not take place. Consistency. We must see consistency in whatever you are doing. That is message being consistent over time. You don't say today, oh, protect yourself so that you don't get what? COVID. Tomorrow, there's still COVID. You come and say, oh, if you don't put mask to, you not get COVID. Meanwhile, the people do not have what? The vaccines. So be consistent with your message. Cultural competence. Confirmation to practices and belief of the target audience. There are cultural practices and their way of doing things. Those things should be respected. When they say women and men do not come together for health education, you must address women differently and men differently. That should be accepted and adopted. Not that you go to community where you know that when you bring men and women together, women will not be able to ask any question, and yet you are bringing them on board. What do you expect to see? You are likely to see people not even respecting what you are saying. The men will talk, women will not express their views. So you'll not be able to get the understanding how they react to that particular message. So that must also be respected. The timeliness of your message is important. At the right time, I already spoke about that. The evidence base, there must be relevant scientific evidence and empirical scientific proof to whatever you are saying. People should know that, well, what you are saying, if you are exposed without using mask, you get COVID. But when you go and tell them that when you sit closer to fire, you get COVID, what is scientific base? You ask questions, they realize that you are lying. Everything you are saying after that, nobody take you serious. So you must have scientific evidence to support whatever you are saying so that others will follow. Understanding is very important. The format appropriate to audience. When certain thing, when you are saying it, they are children and you are using language that they don't understand, they will be looking into your face. They don't follow what you are saying. Come to the level of your audience so that when you speak, they understand what you are saying. Don't use language that they will not be able to comprehend, and yet you say you are teaching, or you are bringing, you are educating, you are bringing health promotion, health protection, health prevention, and yet they can't get or they cannot comprehend whatever you are saying. That will not make the study better or the intervention useful. And beyond that, we also have certain goals of communication. One, to get others to think or act the way we want them to. So you are doing that communication because you want others to adopt behaviors that you expect them or that will bring healthy behavior into the community. That will reduce diseases, that will prevent diseases, that will protect people, that can bring rehabilitation. Those conditions. To inform others about policies and programs. What are the policies about maternal mortality in Ghana? What is government doing? Let the pregnant women know that when you are pregnant, the policy is that you should be registered free of charge onto the National Health Insurance. And therefore, they will not be thinking about money, even though they need money to travel to the hospital or to the cost of transportation. But when they know that they are going to be registered free of charge, they know that the cost has been reduced. Even though they are going to spend, the cost has been reduced. Ask and answer questions about the health problems. You must ask questions about the health problems and also answer the questions that come on board so that you can see, you can achieve the goal of the communication. You don't stop your presentation and you don't ask people to ask questions. If they don't ask questions, how do they get the clarifications? So it is important to provide medium for your people to be able to ask questions for clearer understanding. Ability to listen to others in order to learn from them is paramount. If you're able to listen to others, you also learn from them, and that also influences them to change their behavior. To save the life of others. Sometimes we engage in communication not because of the individual, but to save the life of others, because they are going to carry and give out to others, and that affects the life of the society entirely. As you speak, it's only one person who brought COVID to Ghana. And as you speak today, about 818 people have lost their life. So not only about the individual that is concerned, but the larger impact that that behavior is going to have on the entire society. That should be a motivating factor to engage in communication. And communication educates, informs, and also what? Entertain. As for the channels of communication, there are so many. We have the traditional channels of communication, which we call the debes. We have the mass media, or electronic or print media. We have the audio tapes. We have radios. We have the chief and elders organizing community debes to tell us what they want to say. We have the newspapers, posters, traditional poetry reciters, the folk songs, drumming and dancing. We can communicate using drumming and dancing. Local theaters where we gather, they tell us stories so that we can learn. We get information from those stories. House-to-house broadcasting. We also learn from gossip. Others will come and tell you something secretly. And then we also have interpersonal communication, which have demonstration. You demonstrate for others to see how to do things As I said, the condom use, you can demonstrate for others. Discussion, which is between people, that is the personal communication. Health talks, counseling, role play, lectures. These are interpersonal communication. But the traditional one, we have mentioned them. Debes, chiefs and elders meeting, traditional poetry recital, you learn from that. It's a way of communicating. Folk song, the song that we sing, is a communication. Dancing, drumming, local theater, house-to-house broadcasting, gossip, mass media, electronic, are there, newspapers. They are the one we are referring to as what? Traditional way of what? Communicating. Then interpersonal ones, we have talked about demonstration, that you tell people how to do it, and I talk about condom use. We are talking about discussions, health talks, counseling, role play, and lectures. Then churches and mosques. We also personal communication. Pastors come and preach, and then imam also lead the prayers, and there are also ways of what? Communicating interpersonal. Service delivery points are also there. Service delivery points are also ways of what? Interpersonal communicating. Two-way communication are also there. They are more effective. Interpersonal communication is often what? Two-way communication. You are talking to somebody, somebody also replying you. It becomes more effective in changing attitudes and behaviors than the traditional ones. So interpersonal communication is something that is recommended more when you want to change behaviors. Feedback is often immediate. People can tell you whether they understand what you are saying or not. Then we also have the mass media. Often it's one-way communication method. It creates awareness, but feedback takes time because you must go back to the community and find out. But when it's a discussion, from there you can get what? The feedback. We are not saying that mass communication or traditional ways you not get feedback. You get, but it takes time. You must go to the community. There are principles of communication that we can also look at. Provide a comfortable sitting with few distractions. When you are educating people in noisy areas where they cannot understand what you are saying, it becomes difficult to follow whatever you are saying, the environment. Focus on listeners' needs, the needs of what? People who are listening to and their interests. Express and felt needs is very important. You must also be brief. When you talk so much without any content, people don't follow what you are saying. So be brief. Do not give too much information at a time. Use words that are familiar to the listener. Technical and professional languages are not used. They are only used among the professional. The jargons in your medical field, don't use those jargons for lay individual. They will not understand. If you tell somebody you want to check their vital signs, they'll be looking at you. What is vital signs? Tell them you want to take temperature and those things, they will understand. They don't understand the jargons that you are using. So the communication will not be in point. Use two-way communication. I already told you that normally bring about immediate feedback. The communication skills, finally, before we leave here. Comprehension, that's the ability to understand something. The active listening is important. Summarizing, paraphrasing, probing. Who have done well, praise them so that they can continue to do better. Observation of non-verbal communication. Sometimes when you are talking to the people, you see the way they are behaving. Nobody will tell you that you've overstayed your welcome. Nobody will tell you that they are no longer following. Just like what I'm doing now, I know people are tired, so I have to close. Because I can't hear anybody again talking. I'm the only one doing the talking. So that should give you that should give you clear idea. I know you are there. That should give you clear idea that people are tired. So if you continue again, you will not make any meaningful impact. Because they are not there. They are tired. They want to go and
we are here.
I know you are there. I know you are there. So use audios, visual aids to help them, especially things that you have to show up, providing and receiving feedback. role play on communication skill is something that we can do maybe when we meet next week or when we meet the other time. So we have less than 1 minute. Even if you ask questions, I will not be able to respond to them. So if you have any question, put it on paper. When we meet, I'll explain before we have another lecture.
Sir, don't worry,
You
they
asked
don't
something
have
about the gossip.
All right. The gossip, yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
when we
thank
meet, I'll
you,
explain.
sir.
Okay.
So on
okay.
that note, we are ending the
Thank
lecture.
you, sir. Thank
And
you,
then
thank you.
we'll
Thank you.
continue some other time.
Right,
Good
sir.
night.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day.
Good night. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. You see how people are happy that we are closing.